All right, hello YouTube. I thought I would finally get another video out there. Um, I thought I would do a movie review, and today I'm going to review Ty West's, uh, or I'm going to review the first film, and I guess you could say the Maxine trilogy. I'm going to review the 2022 film X, directed by Ty West, starring Jenna Ortega, Mia Goth, and a few other, actors whose names I'm not familiar with. But yeah, so this movie takes place in 1979 in rural Texas, and you have a group of actors that uh, you you have a group of young actors who set out to make an adult film, and they are convinced they don't need Hollywood. They're just going to do it themselves, basically. And so they go to like this like farmhouse um, that they end up renting to shoot their movie under the noses of the very reluctant of this very reluctant elderly couple. And when they get there, um they meet Howard, who is the husband of this elderly woman. And you can tell right off the bat that something is definitely very, very off about them. Like, and I don't mean off as in uh, I don't mean off as in like how like when you get older, when you reach a certain age, like your memory, isn't as good as it once was, or I and stuff like that. No, I don't mean anything like that. I mean like something is genuinely very, very off about about this couple. So when they get there, you he starts giving off like these very, very bizarre, very, very creepy type of vibes. Like you can tell that that this is someone who has obviously had issues with people before. um doesn't take kindly to strangers, doesn't deal with people on a regular basis. um and you can sense like the tension in the air. Like you can sense that something is not quite right here. So I want to say like maybe the first like hour or so into the movie, we get to know these characters. We get to know these characters, these actors. um and we get to know them, and as we spend time with them, you realize that even though they're an odd bunch, uh the characters are, and this is, for me, this was actually one of the highlights of the movie. The characters were actually, I found them to be pretty likable, which I think was which I think in this type of genre, I think is very, very unique. Because usually uh in these types of movies, usually the characters are usually either one of two things. They are either embracive and obnoxious, or just very, very dull, and just very, very underdeveloped. But in this case, the characters are very likable. um you can relate to them, you understand them, you you know, they're not the type of characters that will make you you know, they aren't the type of characters you know, that'll make you, you know, yell at the TV screen, you know, going, you know, like, oh my god, you know, this person is such a dick, please tell me, you know, that this person gets it, or you know, or this person gets it, or yada yada yada. These characters are not like that. These characters are very very relatable, and they're actually pretty likable. um Even though this movie is technically, you know, like a horror slasher, it is a very very unique movie in this type of genre, because when you look at movies like when you look at, you know, other movies in this genre, like you know, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, those are all movies that obviously have more of like a supernatural you know, element to them. Whereas here, this movie is I want to this movie is very very grounded. There's really no you know, supernatural sci-fi, you know, there's really no like supernatural you know, mystical, you know, elements in this movie at all. It is all very very it is all very very grounded, and it's very very raw and very real. um and and you know, and this elderly couple, you know, when their motivations are revealed, and you know why it's revealed, uh you know, when their motivations are revealed, and why and you know, and it's explained why, you know, this elderly couple is, you know, doing what they're doing, you kind of get it in a, you know, you kind of understand it in a very very bizarre, you know, fucked up sense. You know, you kind of get it, but at the same time, you know, you're obviously going, yeah, this is, you know, this is still, you know, really really fucked up and really wrong. And you know, they obviously, you know, still shouldn't be doing it. But in a sense, you know, you kind of understand it. um but at the same time, you know, you're still going, yeah, this is, you know, this is still, you know, very very messed up. um this movie is, um it's different. It's, you know, it's a very very different type of, you know, slasher, you know, type of, you know, horror slasher. The two, you know, elderly couple, who are obviously, you know, the antagonists for the movie, um it's a very they're a very different kind of evil. um they're a very very different kind of evil, than you would see, again, than you would, you know, than what, you know, you're probably used to seeing in, like, you know, in movies, obviously, like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, uh, you know, Friday the 13th, you know, and one of the reasons, you know, I think, you know, and one of the reasons, for that, I think, you know, is because, you know, how many movies, you know, out there in this type of genre have, you know, an elderly couple as, you know, as the main, you know, antagonist, as, you know, as the main threat. And, you know, it's also kind of brilliant in a way, because you know, because who would ever suspect, you know, an elderly couple, you know, of being, you know, of being completely, you know, psychotic and murderous. um but and the movie itself is very, very gory. There are definitely a lot of creative kills in this movie, and obviously, for a horror movie, you need stuff like that. Um, all the characters in the movie are pretty much dating one another. So, like Mia Goth's character is dating the executive producer of the movie. Jenna Ortega's character is dating the cameraman for the movie, and then Bobby Lynn, one of the other actresses in the movie, is dating one of the other actors in the movie. I don't remember his name. He is African American, and he is also um, he is a Vietnam vet. He is a war veteran. So they're technically dating as well. Um, the movie, like I said, it is set in the town of rural Texas, and it takes place in 1979. And I gotta say, when this movie, uh, the first the first couple of minutes, like the overall setting and tone of the movie, because the movie is because the set design and the overall tone of the movie is very, very 70s. um I actually got uh very, very strong Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes, because that movie was obviously made, in the 70s. um that movie was obviously made, in the 70s. Well, this movie is obviously, only, a few years old, but just, like the overall setting and the tone, and the overall style of the movie, it felt, to me, it felt very reminiscent to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because of the um just because of it, taking place in the 70s. um but no, overall, this movie is very, very, very well written, very, very well acted. uh Mia Goth, who actually plays two characters um in the movie, she plays Maxine, obviously. um and then, but she also plays Pearl, who is the wife of who is the wife of, the elderly husband. That is Mia Goth as well, if you can believe that. And she does an absolutely spectacular job at portraying both a villain and a and just, like a regular, character. Uh, but she is absolutely incredible in this movie. Um, she does an absolutely incredible job. Uh, she does an absolutely incredible job portraying. You know, she does an absolutely incredible job portraying multiple characters. Um, and yeah, no, I'm gonna recommend this, and I'm gonna say, if you haven't if you guys haven't seen this, give it a watch, because it is very, very much worth your time. Um, and yeah, I will definitely be reviewing the other two at some point, because it's a trilogy. There's a prequel and then there's a sequel. So I will be reviewing both of those at some point. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've seen it and what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.